What's up, y'all? It's Prodbyfredo. I know y'all been asking for this for a very long time, and I've just been being lazy, but I decided to finally give y'all a tutorial on Flint beats. And that means if you click this video, you want to know how to make Flint beats, or at the very least, how I make Flint beats. But I can't start this lesson without first giving you some history, because Flint beats didn't just appear out of nowhere. It all starts with Marlon Brown Jr., better known as Energy. Made this one. Back in 2018, during his senior year of high school, Energy found his signature sound that we all know and love. It all started when he linked up with Beecher rapper YSR Grams and dropped a mixtape called Tapped In. That's where the foundation was laid. Raw, bass-heavy beats that didn't sound like anything else at the time. From there, Energy kept supplying heat consistently, eventually linking up with rising Flint artist and now multi-platinum recording artist, Rio the Young OG.
I keep a couple lean on me, don't wanna die alone. What the fuck is one pint? I wanna buy low. I got the plug that's in the bricks, I'm trying to find a boat. Tired of buying jewelry and cars, I'm finna buy a goat. Shit.
In an interview, Energy explains how it all came together.
So how'd you get tapped in with Rio?
Through YSR Grams.
Okay.
Grams had went to do a feature with him, and he had linked me with him. You know what I'm saying? And then he just sent me his number, or he sent my number to him, and then we just linked. You know, I was just sending beats to him, and then he dropped Dumber Dumber.
Yeah.
And I think I had 3 songs on there, and all 3 of them was just something so different. And just seeing that reaction from like the whole Michigan, reacting to something so new, that was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
he even talked about making Rio's hit song Legendary at 3 a.m.
So when it comes to Legendary, is that something you just cooked up by yourself, and were you shopping at the other artists, or was Rio the only one that got that one?
That was for sure a Rio beat. That was, man, I was up at 3 a.m. cooking Legendary. Like, I woke up out my sleep to cook Legendary. Like, I got off work, I had like a melody when I woke up. I'm like, damn, I got to the end of the bed and just cooked it up, sent it to him. Cause it's like, I already felt that. Like, I already knew that was a Rio beat. You know what I'm saying? So.
Energy's production on projects like Dumb and Dumber, Legendary, and even YNJ's Coochie.
Ooh, I hit her from the back, I beat her doonies down. She said I fuck her good, I make her coochie smile. I'm a pinner on the wall, yeah, movie style. I'm out here looking for the cat, I'm a coochie scout.
Yeah, that's the name of the song. Not only cemented him as a star, but also introduced his sound to the rest of the world. He's often credited as one of the pioneers of the Michigan sound, influencing not just Flint, but Detroit and beyond, and his success speaks for itself. Energy went from uploading beats for locals to working with some of the biggest names in Michigan rap, building a resume that most producers only dream of. He's landed multi-platinum placement and even had his work featured on the soundtrack of one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. That's proof of how far a unique regional sound can go when it's pushed the right way. Flint artists like Rio the Young OG, RMC Mike, YNJ, and YSR Grams all ran with the blueprint he helped create, making Flint one of the most unique hubs in rap right now. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how I approach Flint beats, from the melodies to the drum pattern to the mix. By the end, you'll know not just how to make one, but why they sound the way they do. Let's get into it. All right, so first thing I did is I wanted to figure out what type of Flint beat I wanted to make for this tutorial. So I went and looked through Energy Beats catalog and came across Lean Chronicles.
Yeah. Watch this. I wonder if they get the message, I ain't going broke. Ran up down 300 racks at that corner stove.
Lean Chronicles is an all-time favorite beat for me because it uses a sample. And if you know me, you know I love samples. But not only because that, Lean Chronicle uses a Coraline Button Eye Girl sample. And I wanted to find something that kind of fits that sound. So I went on whosampled.com, which is a free sample library kind of, where you can just look up a song, and if someone's posted it, you can find out if any samples were used and what samples were used. So I ended up going in there, I typed in Energy Beats, and I found the Lean Chronicles sample. It's by a composer named Bruno. We just gonna call him Bruno. But I was specifically looking for a sample that resembled the Coraline sample, and that just means like the little children choir vocal chant, creepy, right? So I came across this one right here. and I threw it into FL. Something I always do when I get a sample into FL is I double click on it and I go to where it says resample, or it might say auto, and I turn it to stretch. That is so important with working with samples, because once you go to stretch these samples to your desired BPM, or when you're chopping them up, the audio could either get pitched up or pitched down, and you want it to stay in a good key or a good pitch to actually throw drums and 808s on it. And Stretch does that. The sample chop I did was pretty simple, as you can see here. I just took a part of the song that was very vocal heavy, and I chopped the first part and looped it, and just to give it a little switch up at the end of the second loop, I just threw in a random piece. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Something I want to mention before we even get into making the beat is how to mix your sample. First things first, I always throw a little fruity reverb on, or you can use whatever reverb you want, but you don't want it to be extremely roomy, if that's the word. And then I use a parametric EQ. Once again, you can use any equalizer you want, but you want to take some of those lows out, just a tad bit of those highs. But that's all I do to my samples. I use the actual FL Studio mixer EQ, and I take some lows out a little bit more, just so there's like no bass that's going to be clashing with the 808. But that's about it. Now we can actually get into our drums. Since we're going for simplicity, you don't have to stretch the pattern all the way out to the 9. I do it so I can do a little bit of switch ups if I want to, or add a little bit of variation if I want to, but you can honestly keep it at the 5 and just loop it throughout the whole song. The drums that I'm going to be using for this beat is all besides the 808, and you can actually find a very similar 808 in his pack. Donez's Michigan Baby Volume 2 drum kit. If you don't have any Donez drum kits, you're honestly just shooting yourself in the foot. Go over and head to his BeatStars. I'll put a link below in the description, and copy any one of his Detroit or Flint drum kits, and you will literally be set. I always start a beat off with the snares. Your snares are usually going to be a simple snare pattern, just like this right here. What I do start working on next is our open hats. When an open hat is stacked with an 808, it gives just, I don't know, it's like ear candy. I can't even explain the sound. It's just great. So you want to go to your open hats, and you can use a plethora of different open hat patterns, but you don't want to crowd the beat. Like I said in the beginning, it's all about giving artists space to talk they shit. So I just go with a simple alternating open hat pattern, where I use 2 different open hats, and just next we move on to one of the 3 perks I decided to use, and that's the triangle. I went ahead and just do a simple triangle pattern that goes with the flow of the bounciness of the rest of our drums. After that, I'll throw in a tambourine, which is gonna go on the second part of my loop. But for now, I'm putting it in the same pattern just to save some time. I also end up using a secondary tambourine. Alright, so after we got all that done, we're almost done with the beat, but we have to add the 808s. One of the most important parts of your Flint beat. Now, before we actually get to putting the 808s down, I want to show you how to get some really hard hitting 808s. In this, I'm using a Spins 808, but this can be translated into whatever different 808 you use. Now, first thing first, you're going to want to go ahead and open up your 808. So you're going to want to go ahead and navigate up to volume. Put that hoe on max. Then we're gonna go ahead and click on this little tool icon, and we're gonna put this volume knob up to anywhere between 120 and 132. Now, if you're using an original Spins 808, it's gonna be pretty long, so you're gonna wanna shorten it, but please, for the love of God, don't shorten it to the point where it just sounds like a kick. We're gonna enable envelope, and we're gonna turn everything all the way down besides hold. Hold's gonna go all the way up. This is gonna allow our 808s to be able to cut off when we take them out of the piano roll. and it's gonna let us do some things later on in the video. Before I even start putting the 808s in, I wanna show you a trick that I used to use when I first started producing to like always make sure my 808s were in key. First thing you wanna do is select your sample, highlight it, mute your drums, click Control R. This is gonna allow you to render your sample out and be able to put it in Edison without Edison bringing it back to its original pitch. Now, once you have your sample in Edison, you're gonna wanna right click, go to regions, and then go down to detect pitch regions. That very first pitch region is gonna be what your 808 needs to hit on at the beginning. And usually that's gonna ride out for the rest of the sample, but it could switch up, you know? You now have this tool that you can use if you wanna like switch it up, and you can look at it and be like, okay, if I switch it up, it needs to go up to a G. So for me, it's at an F. So I'm gonna go into my 808s, I'm gonna click on F, and this is really important. I'm gonna click, drag my 808 out to right here. Then I'm gonna copy paste it 3 times and let the last little bit ride out. But that 808 pattern is so boring. And although it can be used in a lot of different beats and a lot of different settings, I don't want to use it here. But I'm going to keep the same 808 pattern, but I'm going to click C on my keyboard, or you can click that little razor blade icon up there. And we're going to just start cutting the 808 by holding shift and clicking and giving ourselves a little more bounce to the beat. So remember when I said to tweak with your envelope? This was part of the reason why. So after we finish up finding an 808 pattern that we like, we're pretty much done with the beat, almost. What I do next is I go over to my playlist and I right click on my pattern and I split by channel. Then you can just delete the pattern that's in the playlist and drag each individual sound in on its own. Now when it comes to mixing, I'm not like an audiophile or whatever they call it. It's a really weird name, but I just go by ear. I go by what I think sounds good. I'm still learning, as a lot of us are, so just go by what you think sounds good. Try not to let anything clash with anything. You'll be all right. But after we get done mixing, now we can go ahead and structure our 2 sections. And on my second section, I want to change the 808 up a little bit, so I went in and I did this. Now that we have the beat done, I pretty much just looped everything and threw my tag in at the beginning.
Damn, Fredo, you made this one.
FL Studio, or at least, you know, if you actually have FL Studio, allows you to be able to isolate vocals from a song. So sometimes when I finish a beat, I want to see how it sounds when a rapper gets on it. So I'll look up a song that's kind of close to the beat's BPM, and I'll go ahead and download it and drag it into FL. Then I'll take the song and using the speech, not stretch this time, I'll go ahead and try to drag it to fit the BPM of my beat if it's not already perfect on the BPM. Then we just drag it back out, click up here, and click extract stems, and just only select the vocals, and this is what we get.
Come around on loose shit, you gon' get steamrolled. We got pie, quake, and trees and some green pole. When I got them first M's, I put my team on. I bought some cut dope from bro and put some clean on it.
If you genuinely enjoyed this tutorial or just format of the video I did, or even if you hated it, go ahead and drop a comment, give your advice, give your tips and tricks on how you make Flint beats if you do, or just ask some questions. But if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you already haven't. Click the like button and let me know what you want to see next.